Hello War Selection community, I'm your host Dan2, and today I have a guide on how to play Europe in Ranked. My goal is to provide you the tools that are essential for any Europe player. So let's start with the basics. Why should I play Europe in Ranked? Well, Europe has stronger units with some disadvantage that is called expensive economy. The economy is the biggest reason why Asia players always have the edge against Europe players, particularly in the Stone Age and Bronze Age. However, skilled Europe players can go around this problem by utilizing the variety that Europe units have in Iron Age and Medieval. So if you use those varieties properly, you can win the games against Asia player. At the moment, the meta leads towards Asia, but everyone in the ladder knows and appreciates that Europe is not any weaker than Asia. It all depends on the player who pilots to Europe. So the very top players know how to make Europe work and win against Asia players. So there is a reason to go Europe if you know how to do it. So now some of you may be wondering, how long it's going to take me to become good at Europe? So it's hard to say because it varies, but I invested around 200 hours in the game and I got to around 600 rating in ranked. And most of those hours I played in Europe and in ranked. So I had to learn many tricks and tips on my own and experiment on multiple strats that some have worked and some failed miserably. So I can tell you that in the end Europe is playable and has a success in rank. However, I cannot say if you will be able to replicate my success, but I should give you the basics to get started. So let's start with the facts. You start at Stone Age. Your goal is to get a total of 40 workers and 20 fully upgraded warriors. The first thing is you need to build a warehouse next to a ferry and a house. Then you need to scout to find your wood line and food line, and after that you find your opponent, but you have to find out your resources at the starting. So you need to hunt animals at every opportunity. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not, you will not have any food backup at Bronze Age, and your Asia opponent will take you by the nose and you will not win the game. So your priority is to find fish, cows and deers. After that, boars and mammoths. Now you don't want to take unnecessary battles with animals unless you got no choice. For instance, if they block the wood line, then you have to fight those animals. Now you need to take the warehouse 3 upgrade as soon as you have around 125 food. Build a stone cutter along the houses when you get enough population, and do the upgrades for warriors as it takes a while. You need at least 3 pits to keep the warriors pumping out, and if you have some extra wood, then by all means build more pits, the more the better. Ensure that the altar is always working. If you got to 40 workers, then make the boots upgrade. Build a temple around 4 minutes and start going to Bronze Age. So what is the meta? The current meta for Asia players is making warriors and then sending them to the opponent as fast as possible. They try to do so before 7 minutes as the standard. However, if it is a complete warrior rush, and I mean a real warrior rush, then 5 minutes is completely doable. As Europe, you will prefer to delay it to 7 minutes as you need to stabilize your economy for Bronze Age. This means that you will most likely be rushed first if the opponent is a complete warrior rush, or if you did not send your warriors fast enough, which can happen naturally. Now, if you manage to warrior rush the opponent then what happens is you need to focus his workers and houses. That's your goal. If the opponent got to you, then it's a completely different story. Your goal is to make sure that his warriors are dead as fast as possible, ASAP. You don't have time to waste. Your opponent is time at this stage, because every second that your workers are not working is another second that he can produce more warriors on his base, and your economy is not stabilized. So what you need to do is you need to take your workers, you need to take the warriors and bait the opponent warriors and fight. Take the fight, lose a bit of workers, but it's worth it, because now your workers are back to work. You can upgrade them to Bronze Age and start making food. You need to stabilize your economy. So when you finish the battle with the warriors, you should have around 30 warriors, which is more than adequate, and you need to send them right away to the opponent base before he manages to make a bigger group of warriors. So you need to do that so you can harass his eco on his own base. Now if you have water next to your base, make some boats, because you're probably gonna be down with some workers, and boats can replenish food very fast, so do that. I don't recommend using spearmen in Bronze Age, not because they're bad, because there are better units in Iron Age. So make spearmen and archers in Bronze Age only for defense purposes, but if you don't need them at all, then don't make them. Only make the armor upgrade in the Bronze Age and the archer damage upgrade. That's all. You want to have at most 60 workers, but you can go to Iron Age with around 50 workers, as you don't go to medieval straight away in Iron Age, so there's no problem. When you get to the Iron Age, the first thing that you need to do is to make all the economy upgrades that you have in mills and warehouses as soon as possible. Now, in terms of military units, I recommend getting swordsmen. They're very good. So get a swordsman get a swordsman upgrade just to get them. So it takes a minute. So get the swords damage and swordsman, so you can get them in that after a minute. You should have around 10 barracks, so you can produce a lot of swordsmen, a lot. And those swordsmen have 14 damage. So if you get to the opponent's base with 20 swordsmen, you can destroy his TC if he is not medieval. If he is medieval, then focus his houses and workers, because that's what swordsmen can take down very fast. Right. When you get to medieval, it doesn't matter which Europe you go. If it's east or west, it doesn't matter. What you need to focus is continue making swordsmen, and upgrade one barracks into medieval. Upgrade the workshop, upgrade the forge into. Upgrade the one who makes upgrades. I don't know. I forgot his name. I forgot the name of it. And do the swords upgrade and archer upgrade, because that's the most important one. If you continue using the swordsman, it's going to upgrade their damage to 16, which is good. If you're West Europe, upgrade one barracks into royal barracks, so you can get land snack. Get a good amount of land snack when you upgrade your swordsman, and then attack the opponent base. Focus military or workers or houses or anything. It's gonna take a while to take down your land snack anyway, so it's a good way to disrupt their economy at home. And you can stabilize your economy at that time and continue making swordsmen. One thing I need to give you as a tip: don't upgrade your workers. Your wheat workers and trees workers have the same efficiency as medieval. Because of the Iron Age upgrades, they have the same efficiency. You need to do the upgrades for workers in medieval if you want to make them efficient. So don't immediately upgrade your workers, because that's not gonna help you one bit. It's gonna cost you a lot of food and for nothing. So don't do that. Alright. If your opponent TC is next to water, then build piers and start making catapult ships. It's gonna take a few minutes to get a good sum of them, and it's expensive. It's gonna cost a lot of food. But I recommend around five catapult ships. Get them next to the opponent TC. That should be a guaranteed win. He will not be able to defend this in time. Now, you need to, if you're cornered the opponent and you push in with the swordsman, with the lance knight, with archers, you know, then you need to start making towers, making siege weapons like onagers or onagers and catapults. So just do that and start pushing the opponent so he can't build anything in the front, and these houses and towers and any buildings are dying slowly, so you can push till you win. Usually you win at that stage because you over push him and he cannot defend it. You can always harass his economy if you have the opportunity. Do that. But yeah, that's the plan usually. If you go to late Middle Ages, transition to cannons because they're better. And if you're West Europe, then still use longbows because they're good. If you're East Europe, use the gunpowder units, and they're better. All right. If for some reason you did not finish the opponent before IR, and you got to IR, then I recommend getting howitzers and rangers. That's the most common units. They're very universal. They have good stats, and yeah, that should work just fine. You just continue the same strat, but just better units. That's about it. Now, you can do some hidden strats by making a few airfields somewhere, and start making 10 balloons or maybe more, and then send them to the opponent TC before he manages to make any anti-air defense. That should cover it up for the majority of the time. People don't usually make anti-air defense unless they see those balloons, so you should be covered. Should be covered by that perspective. Now I hope you learned from this video a lot. My guide should give you some perspective on how Europe needs to work in Stone Age and Bronze Age, and how to safely transition to medieval while doing substantial damage to your opponent. You need to focus really good on the economy and don't spend things that you don't need in medieval. So workers are expensive and you don't need to spend them when you don't need them. So you still need to produce workers in medieval. You need up to 80 workers, and then start to do, you know, going to late Middle Ages and stuff like that. But definitely focus on your economy and don't spend things you don't need. So the reason I recommend continuing using the swordsmen in medieval is because they're cheap considering their price for the medieval, and upgrading those barracks are going to cost quite a bit, and you need to stabilize your houses in those time. And maybe you want to keep some, you know, wood for the boats, so those siege boats. So yeah, it's going to cost quite a bit. So there's no reason to spend your economy when you don't need. The majority of the Europe in ranked is in medieval, not in IR. The majority of the fun or the strats are in medieval. So you work hard to get to medieval and you need to make sure you do it properly, or else you won't get anything from medieval and your Asian opponent will take advantage of that and will win because he can just spam units and you can't manage your economy. That's why European players fail in medieval a lot. So I hope you learn from this. If you like this video, consider subscribing to my channel, liking, commenting, and all the good stuff. And yeah, see you in the next one. See ya! Bye!